What's up, y'all? This is Brave, and I'm back for another review of Zatima. This is season 3, episode 10, and let's get right into it. We already know Zach has found his brother, and now he is beating the crap out of him, okay? I mean, beating the crap out of Jeremiah. I'm like, listen, it took too long for Nate and Tony to even get down to where the fight was happening. And then we got Connie. She trying to stop the fight too. She jumping on Zach back, trying to get him off of Jeremiah. I mean, it was a mess. I hated seeing this scene, honestly, because it was like, okay, Zach, I get you're angry, but the way you taking it out on this man's face, I mean, all face shots, not even no body shots. It was crazy. So they finally are able to separate these two, or should I say, get Zach up off of Jeremiah. And honestly, within that scene, I'm just like, you know what, Zach, you deserve to go to jail. Because, like I said, I get that you were angry, but I mean, dude, there should have been a stopping point. Like, again, Zach, you have a lot of work to do. Because you over here trying to make it seem like you changed so much, and baby, no, you have not. Now, moving on, we see Fatima. She's at Angela's house. She knocking on the door trying to come in. And of course she has a key, so she lets herself in typical Tyler Perry fashion. But I'm just like, why are you here? You just dished your homegirl. And I feel like the only reason why you're over here is because you ain't got nowhere else to go. And you already know that Angela's house has always been a safe haven for you. But here's the thing, you dissed Angela. You said she got men coming in and out the house. So why do you want to be around her? Why do you want to be there? Like, be so for real, Fatima. Now, Angela does tell her, like, listen, what you said, it hurt my feelings. However, she feels like there's also some truth in what Fatima said. So Fatima apologizes, but she still stands on what she said. Okay, she still feel like you just kind of out here busting it wide for everybody. And Angela's like, am I really that bad? And I'm like, you know what's so crazy? Is that, isn't this the same situation that happened with Danny? Where the girls had to ambush her and be like, girl, you wilding out here sleeping with all these men. However, nobody ever did that intervention with Andy. But you know what? That's on sisters. So let's get back to this show. Yeah. I feel like we've already gone through this. However, the difference is that Angela is accepting the fact that she wilding in these streets. So basically, we have Fatima saying how she wants her friends to find a good man or whatever. And Angela's like, oh, a good man like Zach? And of course, Fatima gonna take up for Zach and be like, he's a good man, girl, not right now. That man is a work in progress. Cut it out. So these two ladies go on and talk about how Zach is hot-tempered and how he still needs to work on a lot of stuff. Okay, cool. Moving on. Again, Fatima apologizes and the girls are in a good spot. Now, of course, Fatima has to ask, she stay over. However, here's the thing. Angela got some man in her house. Some man by the name of Big D. However, she decided that she's going to put him out so that way Fatima can stay there comfortably. Again, Angela going above and beyond for her friend. Alright, so in the next scene, we have Deja standing outside because baby girl is waiting on the police to show up and Zach and Tony pull up, right? Now, she's trying to explain to Zach, like, listen, your girl went crazy and she tore my stuff up. Like, yeah, I was trying to have a party for my birthday, but nobody told Fatima to come over here and destroy all my property. Now, of course, Zach, he ain't trying to hear it. He don't want to hear nothing that Deja's talking about, but Deja keeps saying she's going to press charges on Fatima. Like, she has been saying that for a while, that she plans on pressing charges on that girl. And I honestly wouldn't be mad if she did at this point, because Fatima was absolutely out of line. Now, Deja is trying to figure out what's going on with Zach's hand because she can see that he's looking, messed up because he done got into a fight. But, of course, he ain't telling her nothing. Now, moving on from that, we see Zach and Nate. And I'm sorry, not Nate, Tony. Zach and Tony. And Tony's asking him, like, so do you feel better now? Because, okay, you whooped your brother's ass, and what else is going on? Now, according to Tony, he already knows that Zach does not feel good about this situation because at the end of the day, that's still his brother, right? Now, according to Tony, they have been doing this since they were kids. They'll fight, then they'll make up. However, I can't agree with Zach on this. This is different because they're not exactly brothers anymore. They're not exactly those same kids that they once were. You know what I'm saying? Jeremiah, he is a full-on drug addict. And then you have Zach, who's a hothead. Like, there are definitely still some elements that are childish. However, they are two different people at this point. Now, y'all, how many therapists does Zachary need? Because I feel like this man keeps having therapy sessions with everybody that he talked to. Because now we have Tony talking about some, well, I mean, what did your brother go through? Like, you always say what you went through, but you don't know what he's been through or how he got on the drugs. Now, Tony, I get what you're trying to do, but maybe this ain't the right moment for this conversation, okay? Because at the end of the day, yes, it is horrible that Jeremiah has probably been through a lot of stuff and now he's on drugs. However, at the same time, it seemed like it was a learned behavior considering he got to experience more of their mother than Zach did, okay? Also, on top of that, nobody put a gun to these people's heads for them to be drug addicts. I'm just saying. And also, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it something that had to do with Jeremiah that got Zach to go to jail in the first place? Or am I tripping? Child, I guess. So, some type of way, we get to the topic of Zatima, and of course she's not there. So Tony is like, well, do you want to call her from my phone? And Zach is not interested in that. He want to go upstairs and go to bed because he's tired. He's had a day. Okay? He has huffed and puffed his chest out everywhere he's going. He done tore shit up. I mean, he done disrespected people. He done used a lot of his energy today. Okay? He done had to duck and hide from bullets. And he had time to whoop somebody's ass. Listen, the man been busy. I think he would want to finally sleep it off. So Tony finally gets up and leaves or whatever. When he go outside, Deja is still there, talking about she waiting on the police to show up yet again. And Tony decides to go out to his car and call Zatima. So that way he can tell her about Deja saying that she's going to get the police involved. So Zatima is like, oh, I don't care about her. I ain't worried about her. And it's like, well, girl, you should be. Because I feel like she actually have a case against you, girl. There was witnesses at the party to see you up in there acting a fool. Besides that, he's basically updating her on the fact that Zach, he's finally home. And she's like, okay, well, he wasn't home earlier, so where was he at? And he didn't want to say. I'm just like, here we go again. Everybody's keeping secrets all over. So when the person finally finds out, they just gonna blow up again. Just our luck. So, she basically tells him to not say nothing, that he even spoke to her, because she'll talk to Zach when she's ready. All right, moving on from that, we actually see Nate and Connie there at the hospital because they clearly care about Jeremiah and his well-being. And they talk about the fact that basically Zach, he blacked out. And he absolutely did. Zach absolutely blacked out. But it's like, sir, you blacked out to the point where you yelling at your brother saying that he's the one who killed your mom. We heard it. So now Connie, she's kind of concerned about Jeremiah because he ain't no spring chicken, okay? That man is older. He done let drugs whoop his ass already. And now you have Zach coming around beating him up physically. Hell, he might not make it, right? However, Nate, he's trying to convince her, like, no, we all family, everything all good, or whatever. And it's interesting because the minute that she brings up Fatima's name, this is when Nate gets all huffy and puffy. So, of course, Connie has to explain to him, like, listen, I get it, you may not like her, however, she's the one who holds him down, or whatever. And it is very true. I don't know what Nate, why he feels this way about Zatima, as if she's the worst thing that ever happened to Zach. Well, really, she's not. I think the problem with Zach is Zach. Okay? It's not that Zach has made such drastic changes that he's not the same Zach that they grew up with anymore. Because I don't think that's happened. The only difference is that at this point, Zach has a little bit more money in his pocket. And he's only dating Zatima at this point. That's the only thing that is, consistent when it comes to Zach. But nonetheless, Connie is explaining to Nate how they got a love for Fatima too. So this is where I'm just like, you know what? I like Connie. Now, she's very concerned about Nate, okay? Because what the hell is Nate out here doing? Why is Belinda even around? And he's trying to explain that they're dating. And she's just like, no, you're not dating Belinda. She's sleeping around with you, but y'all are not dating. What happened with your wife? Sir, you have a whole wife. You got kids. What's going on with that situation? Now, of course, Nate used the typical explanation, and he's like, oh, Lori, she's crazy. That wasn't going to work out. But Connie's like, is she crazy? Or did you make her that way? And it's definitely giving you made her that way, because you're still playing on Lori's top. You're not trying to make it work with her. You know you got kids. However, you've decided that you want to be a single man. So you're going to pretend like you're single, go mess around with Belinda, not be available to your children. You completely MIA. Hell, you done spent the whole day chasing around Zach. Where is your job? Because if you had a job, that's going to be money that's going to your children. So what's going on, Nate? Now, out of nowhere, we hear this announcement, cold blue in a certain room, right? Here go all these nurses, they running. And come to find out, of course, something's going on in Jeremiah's room. Now it's really hitting that, well, hey, maybe Jeremiah, he might not make it. Nate is trying to make a phone call, probably call Zach. But Connie, she shuts that down. Now, speaking of Connie, you guys, here's my thing. I'm definitely starting to like her character a lot more. However, here's my thing. She said that she had kids before. I just want her to be with her kids at this point. Like, the night has been going far too long. I would love her to go home and be with her kids and not have to chase around these Negroes all day long. Like, come on, make this make sense. This girl is somebody's mother, yet you have her questioning Nate about his kids and their whereabouts. Where are her kids and their whereabouts? But I digress. Moving on, we have Angela and Bryce. They're having breakfast at her house. Why? Just why? So she basically tells him that she invited him over here so that way she can ask him a question. And the question, of course, is, what is his perspective on Angela and men? And he goes on to list a few things, how she won't commit and all of this stuff because she wants to be in control, blah, 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 right? And I'm just like, girl, you didn't need to cook him breakfast for this. You could have just made a phone call. Now, next thing you know, Fatima pops up downstairs and she talks to Bryce or whatever. Here go Bryce. Bryce, he's so nosy and want to be involved. It blows my mind because he basically tells her, I know what's going on. And I did my best by giving Preston the number to the therapist. It's just like, here we go again. You try to prove that you are a valuable player. So at that point, Fatima ends up leaving and Angela still wants to continue with this conversation. Girl, I guess. Moving on from that, we see Fatima, she goes home, right? Deja is still outside. I'm like, you mean to tell me that Deja been standing outside all day? All night long? That's a little weird. But nonetheless, she swears she on the phone with the police, right? So when Fatima goes in the house, she ends up calling Tony because she's like, yo, there's a bloody rag on this table. What happened? So he didn't want to answer her. He didn't want to give her a clear answer. And she already knew. She already knew that it had something to do with Jeremiah, right? Zach come downstairs. He all hype. And he's in, a really good mood. But Fatima's pissed off. And, she's like, what is up with this rag on the table? Or whatever. And Zach, he don't want to talk about it. He's like, whatever it is, it was what it was. And we not talking about this again. I'm just like, well, okay. Like, you didn't really say what happened, but all right, so we're just going to brush it under the rug? Bet. So, after that, there's a knock on the door, y'all, and it's the police. Now, of course, we're probably thinking, oh, yeah, the police are coming for Fatima because she just tore up Deja's house. Nope, that's not what happened. The police are actually here to pick up Zach for murdering his brother. I said, all right, y'all. Now, Jeremiah just happened to be dead. Isn't this the same thing that happened on Sisters? where we're assuming that this person is dead, so now someone's, being charged for murder. We just had this with Gary. What's going on? Like, Tyler, why we keep rewriting the same scenarios? It's giving weird. But y'all, that was actually the season finale. I will catch up with y'all. I think it's in the end of December. When Zatima comes back, I will be reviewing the show. Let me know what y'all thought about this first half. Go ahead and like, comment, and subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you in my next review. Bye, guys.